Pangulong Marcos napahiya doon sa pagbisita sa Australia. Isang senador nagdala ng plakas na sabi na stop human right abuse at nagsalita din siya about kay Bongbong Marcos.
We've just got the pictures of your protest. It was
basically the sign that
pretty much a silent protest. You held up the sign.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't wanting to cause a fuss, but I felt I really needed to make a statement about the human rights abuses that are continuing in the Philippines. Under Marcos, we've still got the same extrajudicial killings, human rights defenders, environmentalists, workers, trade unionists being jailed. We've got killings.
So you don't believe he should have been invited to address the Parliament? He should not have been invited. It was whitewashing the appalling human rights abuses that are going on under his government, and that the people who are responsible for those killings are not being brought to account. Essentially, the judicial system is broken, and that under the guise of anti-terrorism, you've still got massive attacks, you've got bombings of regional communities. And the reason I did it was because of the Filipino community here in Australia. They reached out to me. There were a number of open letters that were sent to all parliamentarians, asking parliamentarians to really note what the appalling human rights record of President Marcos is. And the whitewashing of the dictatorship of his father as well. Yes.
Yeah, and to me, I mean, I speak up for human rights abuses wherever they occur in the world, whether it's the Philippines, whether it's China, whether it's here in Australia, Myanmar, Afghanistan, and I really felt it was my responsibility to be speaking up for
Did
really
you have a
brave
second
people.
thought, though?
No, and I really support the Filipino community. I really want to emphasise how I've got a huge amount of respect and support for the Filipino community and the people of the Philippines, but they deserve better as in their government than people who are,
You weren't worried that it would undermine our efforts to build ties with Manila?
We need to have human rights at the centre of all of our relationships with other countries. If we turn a blind eye to human rights, that's an attack on democracy and it's an attack on ourselves, because human rights matter no matter where people are living in the world. Human rights matter, and they matter for every person in the world. I am proud in this Parliament over the 10 years I've been here to be speaking up for the human rights of people across the world, whether it's the Philippines, whether it's Tibet, whether it's West Papua, whether it's Palestine, and here in Australia. The action I took in the House today was deliberate and it was powerful. And I did it on behalf of every Filipino person whose human rights have been abused by the government of President Marcos. I learnt and I heard firsthand about what is going on in the Philippines, where I learnt about the extrajudicial killings, and then they are hunted down and they are killed, where human rights lawyers are shot at point-blank range as they are driving through the streets, where workers, because they have the temerity to engage in fighting for their rights, are killed, where environmental defenders, because they have the temerity to be fighting for justice for their community, fighting for their rivers not to be polluted, fighting for their lands not to be taken from them, they also are killed. I am struck by I'm having a sense of motion moved against me for abusing parliamentary rights, when human rights did not rate a mention, when both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition in their speeches today did not mention human rights at all. They are completely whitewashing, sycophantic towards the President. Human rights matter, and they matter for every person in the world. I am proud in this Parliament over the 10 years I've been here to be speaking up for the human rights of people across the world, whether it's the Philippines, whether it's Tibet, whether it's West Papua, whether it's Palestine, and here in Australia. And I will continue to do so, and I will take every opportunity open to me in this place to be speaking up for human rights, speaking up for people who deserve to have the right to live a peaceful life, to be able to have their rights respected.